Hello and good afternoon. My name is Deanne Battle, and this is the Composite Season 4, Episode 14. I needed an extra few minutes. I decided I wanted to be outside. We'll see how this goes, but it was just getting a little, drab. I wanted to mix it up. For those who are, if this is your first time joining us, I assume, you'll be watching the playback. We don't have any folks on live right now. So what do we talk about here? Whatever. So that's why it's called the Composite. And today I just, have political stuff I'm thinking about and processing, some international stuff I'm thinking about and processing. So apologies in advance if my thoughts are not as clear as I would like them to be, but it's a beautiful day, a little cooler. There's a breeze going, so I said, well, why not just come talk to folks outdoors. So the political landscape has definitely changed here in the United States since the last time that I went live, which was Thursday, I believe. And then again, if you're in the United States, you're well aware at this point that our current president, Joe Biden, has decided not to run for re-election. He dropped out over the weekend on Sunday, and today's Tuesday. So much has changed between Sunday and today. And Madam Vice President Kamala Harris is now leading her own ticket. We'll see who she selects for her vice presidential candidate to run with her. But, I've just been thinking about this a lot. Some folks are really excited. If anyone's familiar with me and my brand of politics, I've never registered with a party. I'm a lifelong independent, but I tend to lean more progressive in terms of things that I support, things that I believe. And so, sweating. This is what happens when you come outside. And so I just thinking about how to temper my feelings on this one. Am I excited that Joe Biden's off the ticket? Yes. Someone online was like, take the win. Yeah, so we take the win. He wasn't up to it. I mean, I think that has been evident for a long time. Excuse me. Now, hold on a second. It's a little dark on this end, so I want to just brighter. Well, that's as bright as it's gonna get. All right, I might have to pause and go back in. Now, ideally, because he initially promised to be a one-term president, that he wouldn't have sought re-election at all. He would have 18 months into his presidency started doing a handoff with Vice President Harris, so she could, demonstrate her leadership capabilities in real time. And then I think that would have made a stronger case, her own separate case, separate from the Biden administration, to run for president. But, as we see that's not going to happen. And then he's actually going to, I guess, Dr. Jill Biden or Hunter Biden or Anthony Blinken, whoever's running our country right now, will just continue to do that through the end of the year. So that's problematic, but I guess that's a separate issue. But like I said, that didn't happen. So what has happened is that, he made the announcement Sunday. He endorsed her. The Clintons endorsed her. I guess George Clooney is endorsing her. I have such a problem with the fact that, billionaires and actors have more of a voice in our politics than average people. That's so problematic. But anyway, so she's gotten the proper endorsements, and it seems like she already has enough delegates to move forward. So she's on the ticket, and I'm of two minds about this. I think I've stated in this space, like, our system is corrupt, and so she's gone through the proper corrupt channels. So they shouldn't skip over her. At the same point, it's going to be more of the same. We're already disenfranchised. The things that I would like to see changed internationally, in terms of regimes that we fund, in terms of weapons that we sell, all of that stuff's not going to change. Domestically, we'll just have to wait to see what her agenda is, and who she selects for her vice presidential nominee to run along with her. So I wouldn't say at this point that I'm not going to vote for her. I always take an opportunity to read people's website, to read their literature, to see what their actual policies that they're proposing. And so, I just hope, somewhat pessimistically, that she'll take this as an opportunity to course correct. But I've mentioned before here, sorry, my neck is a little stiff, since Gore v. Bush, people have always said, oh, this is the most consequential election and we need to save democracy and blah, 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 blah. And, people have been saying this to me for the last 20 plus years. And so I feel that domestically things get worse here. Our infrastructure is crumbling. We're not making an investment in our young people. My position materially has gotten worse progressively over 20 years. Internationally, I feel our standing has gotten worse. And so the playbook isn't working. And I guess the donor class, the ruling class, just, needs to decide, do you just want to out and out have a monarchy, or, because this farce that we have going on now is just, it's a lot to take in. And then there was a woman, Sonia Massey, who was murdered in an extrajudicial killing by police. And what I don't like is the memes and the rhetoric going around, like, oh, well, this proves why you need to vote. And I just, I'm an English teacher. I've taught public speaking, and so the rhetoric and logic behind that don't work for me, right? Because, well, who of the major two parties, who actually would stop these killings? Both parties have really proven that they're invested in, having cops just randomly murder people. The Republicans, they say outright from a law and order standpoint, oh, you should comply with the police and da-da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, these folks are turning body cameras off, covering up evidence, lying, planting evidence. And surprise, surprise, the guy that, shot Sonia Massey, like, point blank in her face, had already been transferred between, multiple police departments, had multiple complaints against him. Excuse me. So it's just like, okay, so then don't vote for a Republican. But then the Democrats, like, ever since George Floyd was lynched, essentially, they've given police forces more money to, again, turn their body cameras off. So who is you're saying, oh, this proves why you need to vote. so vote for Jill Stein? Is that what you're saying? Because because the Democrats and the Republicans are perfectly happy with things the way they are, and it's just it's bad faith. And I just look at a lot of Democratic surrogates who are black and some of their talking points and the ways in which they talk at black people, and the talking points they're using, the self-hatred they're demonstrating, like, you all, a lot of you all are not any better than Candace Owens at this point, right? Because there's a certain level of contempt you're showing for your own people. We know what we're seeing. We're not stupid. And a lot of your talking points, you're talking at us like we're dumb. We're not. Working class and poor black people, we know what we're seeing every day. We know what we experience on the ground. So for you to mask that in this whole, oh, well, it's worse under Trump. So you're admitting that it's bad. Like, it's just, this is not hard, folks. Like, why is it that the constituency that I am a part of, we are not allowed to ask for anything for our vote? So by the way you're approaching me, you're reinforcing the fact that I'm disenfranchised. Like, that's not going to work. So again, hopefully Kamala Harris takes this as an opportunity with her team to really do a course correction in terms of policy, because this doesn't work. The political class, they want to make money hand over fist in terms of, again, billionaire donors that they take money from, lobbying groups that they take money from. But at the end of the day, even when you're mired in corruption, if this is any semblance of a democracy, you've got to come through for the people that vote for you. And that's not what I've gotten. What I've gotten is a bunch of people telling me that I need to put boots on the ground for Kamala Harris, telling me that I need to donate money to Kamala Harris. But I'm not moving an inch until I feel confident that at least some of the things that I care about would get done under a Harris administration. And, it's just Tuesday, so she does have time to really get into the weeds on policy. And I hope she does, because right now, if it's just going to be, Biden-Harris 2.0, I have no interest in that. It doesn't serve me. It just doesn't. And it's just, I don't even know the guy's name, but there's a guy, and he does these videos. He's usually in his car, and he's just yelling at black people. And then people are in the comments like, oh, yes, you tell these people, and so on and so forth. And it's just like, you would talk to no other race of people the way that you're talking to your own people. This is really self-hating, and it's not productive. I would say it's actually you're performing blackness in a way that's oppositional to what you actually want to achieve. So it's a really bizarre universe that we live in here. And I'm aware that, so much happens outside of the United States, that we contribute, things that we contribute to, whether it's, the climate crisis, whether, in the environment in general, whether it's geopolitical destabilization, which we directly contribute. So I'm aware that there's so much going on outside of this, election, if we're calling it that. But I mean, is it really an election? right? You've got the Orange Menace, and then you've got Harris. So you have a right-wing choice and a far right-wing choice. We have no left anything in terms of an option. This is really pathetic. But I'm aware, again, sorry to go around in circles. Told you I'm still like processing all of this. I don't want to be fully nihilistic, right? Because I do think, like I said, she has an opportunity to show us with her vice presidential pick and with her, policies, her platform. She has an opportunity to distinguish herself that way. But I've always had an issue with her. I think that there are debates on, how many people she imprisoned for marijuana. People have issues with that. And it wasn't that I didn't have an issue with that, but, the argument that, oh, well, that was the law on the books, and as a prosecutor, she has to, utilize that. So, even if you give people some credence with that argument, the people that she imprisoned for truancy of their students, I've never been with that. And the thing that disgusted me the most was in California when she had prisoners fighting wildfires. So her prison labor model, I've always had an issue with that. This is not like me coming up with something new. I said that when she ran in 2020. I mean, I didn't have a show in 2020, but I said that in 2020. And then in terms of people saying, well, there's an element of sexism there because people supported Obama. Anyone that knows me personally knows that I never supported Barack Obama either. I've really been clear in terms of being tired of photo ops, right? But that's what happens when you have a party that's engaged in benign neglect for 60 plus years, and all they've given us are photo ops at churches, at barbershops, or, candidates, that it's not their fault they're of mixed racial heritage, but it's not lost on me as someone who, my family has been here, I'm still working on my genealogy, but at least since 1795. And you have not elevated anybody from my group. You haven't. Neither Obama or Harris fit that profile, my lineage, my ethnicity, with our contributions to this country. I come from Civil War veterans. I come from pastors. I come from sharecroppers. I come from people who have contributed in a very tangible and real way to the composition of what this country is now. And I'm supposed to be satisfied with these neoliberals that you keep elevating to lead the country. It's not confusing, but it just shows, again, the level of contempt for the bottom caste, which I'm a part of in the United States, because you're saying that that's good enough, and I'm telling you it's not. Let's see here. Just as a reminder, I like to read poems to give us, a little bit of art and other considerations in an increasingly, in my opinion, negative landscape. I think what I might do is maybe start expanding a little bit to maybe passages from essays or short stories. But, I've just avoided prose, even though I write prose. I've avoided it just because, I don't want to spend too much time reading. I'm still figuring out my way in terms of a format here. But all of that to say, and apologies for losing my train of thought, yeah, I'm just processing it. Again, I'm not saying that I out and out won't vote for her ticket, but it's just this rinse and repeat playbook is not working, folks. You're going to actually at some point have to do something for the most vulnerable and most disenfranchised people in this country. Like, you're not going to circumvent that. I won't let you circumvent that. I'll continue to bring that up. And the thing about me is that I've gone to those schools, I've joined those organizations, and this is how I talk. And so I do have a lot of people in my former circles that have distanced themselves from me because they were in the Obama cult or because they're in the K-Hive. They don't like what I have to say, but that's my reality. I don't, live that lifestyle. I do come from a working class background, and I've, over the course of my teaching career, I've worked with quote unquote elite students, but I primarily try to help students that have similar backgrounds to me, whether it's in office hours, whether it's on a one-to-one mentorship level. That is where my allegiance lies. And so as a political being, I make decisions from that standpoint. Like, what is going to help working class people in terms of, putting food on their plates, in terms of keeping roofs over their heads, in terms of making sure that they have livable wages, which a majority of us do not. And there was a map that I showed earlier this season, where you can see like how much money it would take for a single person to survive. I'm gonna say comfortably, but not even comfortably. I mean just survive, meaning I can eat, I can pay bills, and I can have somewhere to live. Now, I currently live in Pennsylvania, and I believe that the amount is like $91,000. I don't make anywhere near that, and especially after taxes, I probably make less than half that. And that's what it is, folks. It's kitchen table issues. And from a humanitarian standpoint, I do care about what happens to people across the world in terms of how my country contributes in a negative fashion. But at the end of the day, if I can't stay alive by eating or by having a place to live, then I can't really see that far. I'm still on this bottom level of the Maslow's hierarchy. And so that's how I make my decisions, from a kitchen table standpoint. And so all of this, again, is Project 2025 terrible? Yes, it is. But again, let's use logic and reason. You want me to look ahead to a Republican administration for Project 2025 when you are building cop cities right now? Make it make sense. Right? Like the stuff that you have me, you want to have me afraid of, you're doing it to me right now. The kitchen table issues are important. So if she can get into the weeds of the kitchen table issues and really address the plight of the working class woman, the working class black woman, then I'm on board. But I'm not inclined to give money to or make calls for someone who, the last time she was running in 2020, she was asked directly about redress for what black people experienced under slavery, under Jim Crow. And she laughed and was like, oh no, I'm not going to do anything specifically for black people. So she needs to update that. We need the remix. We don't need that. All right. Again, neoliberal policies in, a diverse package or a more attractive package, that's not going to cut it. And so telling me that I'm ill-informed or that I'm a terrible person, like trying to shame me into just immediately shutting up and getting on board with this, I've never shut up for anyone. My family and friends will tell you that, much to their chagrin. I never shut up for anyone. And so this is what it is. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know. Now, other things here. You know what? I think that that'll be enough for today. Yeah, I just am... I'm processing that. And then before I hopped on here, that's when I saw the people with the Sonia Massey stuff. Like, to me, that's just low down and dirty. Like, that this woman was murdered by the police, and that we as Black people have to deal with the trauma of losing another person to senseless violence, another person to senseless racist police violence, and immediately the Democratic surrogates jump on like, this is why you need to vote. Dude, Joe Biden is in office right now. What is he going to do about this situation? Is he going to have Merrick Garland look into it? No, they don't care. They don't care. These people just don't care about us. All right, so the poems today are, the first one is from poets.org, and our poet is C.T. Salazar, and the poem is called River. River, am I the bathtub full of your spring weeds? If you're coming, bring a raincoat. I'm under a wool white river of clouds so dense, whatever where cotton, whatever where, oh, this feels a little disembodied to me. Sorry, I'm going to start over. This poem's called River. Am I the bathtub full of your spring weeds? If you're coming, bring a raincoat. I'm under a wool white river of clouds so dense, whatever where cotton built cathedrals that praised what blood buys our river, drowns us like that, holds me how you hold a cottonmouth and a crosshair quiet angel of the river. Listen in the tall grass, the soldiers are surrendering to the applause they owe the countryside and a river of mothers who tend it under someone else's flag. When a senator sells a resource, he means a river. I am being interrogated into unbelievably small ladybugs, your voice, a radio, a rain shower, a river, rushing when the police come with hands for your loved ones, become a mob in neon shouting, become a river under the stars, more light than I can put here, heavier than expected. Even so, reef me in it. The river loves the risk. Go past the barn brambles to taste it before they catch your arms moving, moonlit and riverly, like the light that fell against the prison floor while Etheridge wrote his poems. I want to be a river, like that, full of the kind of applause it takes to live through a revolution into another river, heavy heaven that could be called home, where our lives aren't demands. We graffiti on the levee wall of the river, in the innards of a clay pot, a soldier's ear unearthed from the meadow, a thread of river, year-long in the humidity. I heard my name heaved up. Hear that? Our father is breaking cane across the river. That was a tough one. Yeah, like if this poem here, like if I was teaching this, I would like have students break up in like 4 different groups and give them different sections and different stanzas to pull images out for discussion. Because again, because it's called River, I think that there are like 3 or 4 different rivers of thought in here in terms of what he's discussing. So that was C.T. Salazar. All right, and then our last poem of the day is by Quan, and it's called Lion. Lion, shagged gold At rest, the great haunches, as if axled, fur sleek like a butter rug. In the Serengeti sun, the male's harem, like a solar system, each lady kept exclusive, her seasonal heat for him alone, estrogous belly pressed to the ground. Then the male's riding her musculature. Oh, this is spicy. Okay, then the male's riding her musculature throughout evolution, the cat's barbed penis nicking his breeched mate as he dismounts. See the deliberate walk, cool as a criminal, the multi-joined forepaws placed consciously even by the usurped king, his eye, teeth blacked, his tail rotted off, tired wag of a bloody stump as he finally falls, dying, the crucified face bedded in its wheel of hair, the tawny, miscegenated eyes, binocular in breath, shark in the long grasses, shark in the long grass, smell everywhere, the gazelle with its small-headed splendor gracing the plains is ambushed, devoured, its horned bone racked, souvenired, the murderer's ripping muzzle crimsoned, in the despot's son's palace of pure gold, the three in the iron cage lazing like statues. When the American unlocks the hinged door, our shackled hearts contract. Unhooded and naked, we are pushed into their presence, and for a shining moment, the animals study us, these fabulous aliens, here in a desert captivity, snatched from the baobab's soured fruit, their swagged bellies shifted, broken, and resignedly, the ancient drive rose up only in one, its head wreathed beyond sorrow as it slouched out of the habitual darkness, the permanent rictus of its terrible mouth, pain-struck. The thing came toward me with its ruined light, and I saw affliction in it. Dream of mastery, dream of being wholly consumed, freed. I am the lion, and the lion is me. Then American pulls us out. Wow. I like this line here. Each lady kept exclusive her seasonal heat for him alone, right? Yeah, this is a hard one too. It's like the parallels of the majesty and the sexuality of the lion with the, violence of the American state. I mean, all right. And again, that was Quan Barry. Yeah, we'll do a shorter episode today. So this has been the Composite. I'm still Deanne Battle, and this has been season 4, episode 14. I will go live again tomorrow at 5. And so, yeah, we'll see what we have to talk about. I mean, the news cycle is spinning so quickly. I'm sure we'll have updates. I would like to revisit a brief conversation that I started here about Haiti. Not like I've started it internationally or anything, but just a conversation I've started on the show. Talk about Haiti and the Congo and the Sudan. And I've mentioned that before. It's just been a little, more than a little depressing. That so few people cause so much suffering for so many people that look like me. Yeah. All right. Well, take care. Have a good evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.